that one we need to get it right.
Yeah.
Does it feel like we're in a podcast from 1970 something? Or?
Do you know, I'm so used to this. I am the old technology where when you are doing an interview like this, that you were looking at the screen. You know how many times I've been looking at that screen?
No, this one is a simple one.
I think I'm trying to do the same thing. I was about home.
It's a simple one. It's one of those.
Yes, cold, man. Thanks.
Yeah. Otherwise, are you rocking? What did I catch you up on a tiring day?
Yeah, well, it was.
Am I abusing you? Yeah.
It was a little bit of a long, day.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad day, you know. Yeah, in terms of being exhausted, I get days when I'm extremely exhausted, you know, and this is not one of them, but it was tiring.
Yeah, because it sounded like you had a lot of ups and downs trying to close some. Is it closing or throwing in envelopes?
No, we don't throw in envelopes. We close.
It's closing. Yeah.
We close.
It's important to close, eh?
Yeah, it's very important to close.
It's important to close.
It's very important. Otherwise, if you don't close, man, you don't get to vibrate. You know,
you'll die of hunger.
And then the stomach will complain.
Literally, like it will do that. You know. Otherwise, my man, this is the podcast I've been talking about. NippyCast. I'm actually not gonna say which volume it is because I've had to recall 2 volumes for different reasons. So it doesn't matter. But this NippyCast, but this edition is something that I'm extending to another dimension now. This NippyCast is gonna be different from the ones that the other people know. This one, I'm gonna introduce a product called Back to the Future.
Oh, okay.
Back to the Future, yeah. So what happens in a NippyCast Back to the Future is we identify a person who's relevant to talk about stuff from the past and stuff from the future. Not the future. What is the future? I mean, not like tomorrow or the next day. It's just people who can tell us what happened in the past in sync with what is currently happening now, which is the past future. Basically, these are the people who have literally been back to the future, who were there, or who have got information of stuff that was happening there
back then, before the recent back, which is then the future to the first back.
Which now, if you bring those philosophical people, they'll say time is an illusion and it doesn't exist.
But I'm saying that Monday happened before Tuesday.
Well,
so Monday is the back of the back is the furthest back. Is the furthest back.
Yeah, but
Tuesday is the recent
back.
Is the recent back.
And then today is the
future. Which is the future to the Monday. Yeah. And then today as a Wednesday
is the future to
yesterday.
Tuesday. Yes. So but now
so this is how this concept is.
That's how it works, yeah. So the guy who was there on Monday is here today.
Yes.
But in the context of Back to the Future NippyCast would mean that you don't have to be there actually 20 or 30 or 40 years ago, but as long as you can trade information with the people on what you can resonate with, that we're going to talk about. Okay. Which I've also introduced some element of things, information, but actually specifically Back to the Future will speak of music. Other NippyCasts will talk of all hogwash. Well, we can mix it.
Yeah.
We can mix it up. We can mix it up.
Anyways, it's a podcast. I had to go and research a podcast, how they work. Hey, old school. This is a Back to the Future.
I'm just giving away.
This is a Back to the Future experience for me.
What did you find then?
I found out you just sit around and have a conversation.
Exactly, and with no restrictions.
With no restrictions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's all up to your moral compass if you believe in using other words that you find not offensive or not. Because we've seen some of the people in the podcast being thrown in the deep end in terms of losing gigs and deals from sponsorship because they use a bit of aggressive approach or vulgar, and they push their luck, without mentioning names. So some people, I know a guy who runs the biggest podcast in the world. He got a good deal from Spotify. They paid him $100 million for it. How much is it in South Africa?
You should times it by what? At the current value, 14.
14 today. So
it will be around 1.4 billion. Right?
Yes, yeah. So on his third or second month.
Can I just do podcasting and make that much money? Is it possible?
No, I think the trick is not to start podcasting because you want money. It's to do it because you would want to podcast. The guy can still podcast without them paying him. When he started, they didn't pay him at all.
He will still have the same following.
You see, no.
It's his own following.
Yeah, but remember when you build up people, then the commercial businesses start following you, and then the culture should not be like that. Like we don't even we've done almost what episode? We've done a bit of episodes. We're not. We're not driven by, I think, money as much as we need money in the world.
Yeah.
So they couldn't let him go, but the employees were saying, "Yeah, he swears a lot, and we are part of this religious movement, and then he can't say fuck you." Yeah,
I mean, the guys were giving him the most money.
The employees of the company that was paying him. Well, we're saying that we feel like our human rights here have been abused because he's allowed to get away with swear words, which is the same stuff that you would get from a normal radio station here in this country. Like ICASA will tell you not to swear. They'll tell you, take it to a what you call? Broadcast Complaints Commission. Well, I'm not saying it's wrong for anything to be regulated. My English is not here today. To be regulated by anyone.
It goes away. It goes back to England. You need to remember we're in Africa.
So they keep stealing their bundles.
Every once in a while, when Ronaldo Shaki buffering, it goes back to England, and we go and reconnect.
They were like, Megan Nipra doing a podcast. We're gonna steal their English for now.
Multiplied when it comes to languages. So when this one shuts down, you quickly go and pull Chivenda, quickly, and then sorry for those that will not understand, unfortunately. If it shuts down for me, I'll quickly go and steal from my Zulu plug. So.
But you are actually almost multilingual because you grew up in Alexander, ne? And then I need to introduce you because there's this mistake that I do mostly when I'm doing podcasts with my friends. I forget to introduce because I get so free like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna introduce you as Mega Duduzi Gumede. Grew up in Alexander. The reason why you are here with us tonight or today, depending on when the podcast is gonna air, is because we need your brain from a musical perspective, your musical intellect. Back to the Future will focus on the music of the past and what the previous music influenced the current music, which is our future. Like the Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday example you used was so stupid, but So I don't know, unless if you wanna give us more of that resume. Oh, there's more that I know, but I think for the manner of this podcast.
So I'm going to introduce myself.
If you want to add this thing on your should I say they call it bio? It's not even a CV. This shit. Like if you want to add more, because for the sake of this, the reason why you're here is because of what I just said.
Yeah, the Back to the Future.
Yeah, that's how you are relevant to Back to the Future from a musical perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be having a couple of episodes of this Back to the Future.
I would want to have that, by the way, because this is the first one. And you're actually the first guest.
I'm glad to be the first
I'm going to have to identify other people.
With this Back to the Future, I'll be the first guest and I'll probably be the co-host.
I don't know.
So I actually was born in Alexander Township. A couple of decades ago. And I grew up there, went to school, like my primary level. Wow, when was LM Taunyana. That was, we called it Ekukanyiswin. I went to the school and then I moved then to higher primary. And Carter, higher primary. LM Tonyon was the lower primary, your grades.
Are they all in Alexander?
They're all in Alex.
Okay.
And then I went to Carter.
Just a little bit. This mic is a bit further. Let's project.
Yeah, let's project it. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, and then I went my high school.
High school.
Was
this band education, or they're not calling high school high school?
Primary? Yeah, they don't call it high school anymore.
There
was lower primary. So your lower primary would be what they call now grade A. Grade A, B, is it grade 8? You have grade A?
I think
grade one.
A was not called grade. You just called it A.
You just called it A.
A and B, and then we cross over to standard 1.
Yes. Now.
Am I right?
Yes. You're perfectly correct. So it's grade A, grade 1, 2, 3, and 4. So
you mean standard or
grade? No, grade. Now this would be lower primary. So A, B, standard 1, standard 2.
I still struggle to convert back. So you're doing the conversion now?
I'm doing the conversion.
Oh, okay, sure.
So your A and B would be grade 1 and grade 2. The standard 1 and standard 2 would be grade 3 and grade 4.
Oh, yeah.
That would be the lower primary.
Okay.
And then you then move.
Remember, I'm just agreeing now because
you will find schools. That can be verified. We can quickly go and verify it.
I just know that it's off by two standards.
Yeah, and then
grades.
If you're not fortunate enough to be in a school that has both the lower primary and the higher primary, you then need to move to a school that has higher primary. For instance, LM Taonyane or Kanyiswe did not have higher primary. So we go.
What was it? Was it also in Alex?
All of these were in Alex. Yeah,
all of them inside.
Right.
Are they still there today?
They're still there. Yeah. They're still there.
Okay. Yeah.
So then I moved to Carter.
Sounds like a white school.
Higher primary. It's the Agogas of 4. The old Carter, old building. So as they were busy with the construction for the new Carter that is standing right now, I actually had the privilege, the opportunity to be in both the old, and then when I was doing my last year of my higher primary, then went to the new building.
So they were just swapping around resources.
We swapped. Yeah, we moved from the old school to the new building near the upstairs lady steps. And then I moved to high school. And my high school was Alex High. My first experience of high school was Alexander High. So I'm holding on to this for the warmth. So anyways.
Yeah, no, I had to give you coffee because you were not. I hijacked you.
Yeah.
Is it working?
It's working.
Is the caffeine pumping your adrenaline?
Caffeine is pumping my adrenaline. Now I'm going to have to deal with this whole thing. The palpitations. I will not be sleeping. I will be bouncing off the walls like a 2-year-old. But anyways. So high school, my first experience was Alexandra High School, Alex High. Neribisa Seiko. Seiko for secondary.
So from Carter to Seiko.
To Seiko.
It sounds like a downgrade.
There is no Seiko. Alex High School. But my experience then, I'm talking about my first encounter with high school and what happens then. During those days, there was this thing that we do. Those that were there before you, they would then take you back initiating. But the initiation was, you would not be told about this initiation. You would call randomly one day by the big boys. Hey, man, come here. Where are your friends? And then you'll be thrown into this classroom. And this initiation, we were told not to tell, but I'm telling it because that was just a lot of
fuck them.
A lot of policing will take place there. They'll be asking you where's your money, your allowance. If you didn't have, you get a clap. And then you have to make a promise because you don't have money. Who amongst the big boys are you going to give the money to tomorrow because you need to bring in money? And if you choose the wrong one,
figure out a way home.
If you choose the one that is lower rank, and then you get a smack again. Yeah. So you have to figure out who you choose. You're gonna give the money. Basically, you have to make it to try and predict who the treasurer is. Guys,
can I break your heart? it was not initiation. Should I give you a word for it?
Yeah, what was it called?
Coons.
No, that's what I'm called.
Yeah.
This is now Seiko.
Seiko.
Yeah. Fortunately, I had a T-shirt. I saw some boys doing this. Somewhere were putting their coins in their mouths and try and hide it underneath their tongues, you know. Myself, I had
to
a
avoid
t-shirt.
the nkunzi,
Golf
initiation.
shirt. Initiation. I had a golf shirt. I had elastic. Yeah, we called it mabamba. I don't know if so a golf shirt that had.
Yes, I see. You can slide in some
elastic. So when you push it in, it would still hold. So I slide in my 2 rand coin, and then I push it in. And I told them I didn't have money. I knew I was gonna get it.
So which part? Because this part they're gonna see.
It goes like this. Yeah, so you pull it, you put the money in, then you try and push it.
Fuck! That was smart.
Yeah, man. They didn't call me mega brains for nothing. So anyways, then I did that. I knew I was gonna get a smack, but I think feeding my belly was much more important than just smaller than a smack. Fortunately for me, they gave me one here on the chest. I think for some reason they realized that these boys are coming out crying.
Like a Van Damme.
So they gave us a Van Damme. Like I was like, I can take a Van Damme. So I went there. We already now obviously.
I feel like I want to say sorry.
Who the treasurer was there. So everyone now, from the one who actually tried an error, we knew, okay, this is the one. And then obviously all of us made a promise and a commitment that no, we're going to give this one the money when we have it, which was supposed to be the following day. And I did the same.
Wait a minute, is this day number 1?
This is like day number 3, 4.
But 1 week.
Still
in initiation stage.
Yeah, first week.
Shit.
And then fortunately for us, before we got, because we now try and avoid these big gangsters, camouflaging as scholars, you know.
But there were scholars. Were they not in the registry?
They were in the registry. They were going to, but they're just there to come and bully us. I don't know how long this thing lasts for. Because now, fortunately for us, there was a new high school. You know,
I think it's still happening today.
Baraki East Bank High. The school was still being built. They then asked us to come, but they didn't ask us. We were told, "Horiako East Bank High." Told, I don't know how they did their
from Seko.
There's some lotto type of setup. It just
maybe it was the same group they were just taking.
Yeah, so I think the hammer landed on me.
Yeah, it's possible.
It landed on me, and that from where I stayed, Seko was much closer. I could walk, to get to school. East Bank High was on the other side of the river, Jokske River. On the other side of the river, I stayed at 7th Avenue for a long walk. But for me, a bit of a breather because we were the first. We were going to be the first bar. Only the standard 6, which is from 1.
So it sounds like it's a continuation of that other one.
Yeah.
So from what's the other name? Kata,
yes.
Seko, and
then from Keko, that 1 week, then we are told we are going to be the first, students of this new high school because they are expecting to get it done by the end of that year.
It sounds like there was a project.
We then moved to because now we are chosen. We now moved to some old building, somewhere called 2nd Avenue. Some I remember studying at some like old factory at thingy.
Was like a downgrade now from Seko.
It was a downgrade because now we had to study at some old building by not far from the Roman Catholic Church. I think it used to be a school back in the 50s. I think. It was like an old rundown business.
Into ghosts there of dead people from the 60s, from World War III. Two, I mean.
So some guys bumped into outside. So there were 2 groups, us who were taken there, especially by some comments. I think it was the ones, but we were all doing the same things at the time.
Were you doing commercial science?
I had to choose, but it was back when I was doing now standard 8, which is grade 10.
Yeah.
That's when I needed to choose.
You're so quick on converting these things. My mind today, I don't know, for me it messes up.
Today is not my best day, quite honestly. But anyways, so we went to this new school, well, to that old building as we were waiting for our school, Robert.
For your school to be completed by whoever the powers that be.
The powers that were and back in the day, yes. East Bank High School. So that's basically where I studied. Eventually we went to the school. Had its own controversy where another school wanted us to bully us out, saying that they've been that school for a long time and they don't understand why there's going to be a new school and yet they're still starting from an old building. A lot of things that we didn't understand. Politics.
Because going back to the bullying, what I've realized, not bullying, sorry, initiation. It's the same thing. What's the difference? The same thing, initiation is still happening in a lot of schools, my man. Yeah, a lot of schools. We have got one here. It had a big case here. A big case here was this. I'll tell you now. Parktown. Those kids, man, they claim that they would be put on a pole, and wrapped around the pole with a gaffer tape. Oh yeah, a tape actually, yeah. And then they'll be wrapped around the thing, and then there will be these things where you are asked for money, not even asked now, they're taking it and all these things. And then once you pass that thing, they accept you as like, yeah, now you are in the boys' club. Hey. So all you're going to do after being initiated like that, you want to do it to the next person. For you, it's not initiation, it's more like revenge. And this culture has been ongoing passed from generation to generation. And so many years. Today, even if we're going to go to like, what do you call the schools of the mountains?
Yeah.
What do you call them?
I don't know what they're called.
Like
Initiation schools, they're
initiation
called.
schools is the same thing, but in my mother tongue we call it Mulan or Tawan.
They must say intervene.
Intervene, yeah. It's the same scenario, you know. It's always that thing, or when introducing you to manhood. But unfortunately, some people are not strong enough to take that thing, and some of them it kills them. Because I remember some of the guys I went to primary school with today. Those guys were so smart; they're capable of doing a lot of things. Could be richer than us, doing everything, you know, or be like probably the president of the world. But today, some of them are in jail because they thought everything about life is to initiate, is to. You know, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think it damages the mental capability of a young person. But well, I don't want us to dwell on that one because it's something that is very sacred amongst schools. I'm sure they're still doing it now today. You know, it's possible.
I'm thinking, I've got 2 kids. I don't want them to go through that. Anyways, that's not a thing. Something that I think we should consider.
I also wouldn't want that to happen. Yeah.
Which is another. There's a dialogue that can
back to the future where we're going to elaborate
on, and then
it's another Back to the Future. But this Back to the Future is actually positive because I don't know. Actually, the schooling part. I want us to go straight to the reason why you are here for Back to the Future. How did you fall? I'm sure even when you've been traumatized by initiation, there was a song somewhere playing. Even in a taxi going home, right? There was a song, right? There's always a song.
I'm trying to think the popular song during the time. This is a big revelation. I just said, born a couple of decades now. If I'm going to go to a specific year of when this thing happened, that should be giving out, at least giving some, I'll be giving away.
Yeah, but you can only say you reincarnated or you were not born then.
By your age or very close to how old I could be. But anyways,
it doesn't matter.
I'm going to say to you that it was during the times where now we used to call it international, was really coming into play in the music space. We called it international, but it's actually house music. Yeah, we used to call it international.
I thought it was called disco.
It was transitioning from disco into what we call international. So if you wanted to sound relevant, to look like you know what you're talking about, when you have like a tape of house music, then.
Mama, you said a tape. You said a tape. You just gave away your age already. You said a tape.
But I'm saying transitioning from disco to what we call international. That already on its own is suggesting.
But you said if you had a tape.
Yeah, a tape cassette. No, that's it. I'm already doing it, but that is very vast. We used a tape for a very, very long time. Yeah, okay. We used a tape cassette for a tape cassette was introduced back in the late 70s. You know, it generally ran maybe even prior to that.
But at that time we were not.
There were records, and then in the 70s, I think, and then tapes were becoming prominent. In the 80s, they were big.
But don't you think it was only in South Africa? Because according to my
a
bit of research, it's not the tape. was outdated the time when we were receiving CDs.
But you see now,
And then it was.
this is where I'm trying to come.
Oh, okay.
To come at.
All right.
There were records, what we call vinyls.
AKA LPs.
LPs, aka LPs, vinyls that. Maybe the 40s, 40s, grammar. First, there were those that were playing from what they call the gramophone. My mother used to tell me about this gramophone. So, a gramophone would be a piece of equipment where you can put one thing, one LP, and then you roll it, because remember we didn't have electricity, they didn't have electricity. It's not like your watch there's that mechanism that pushes.
It's like a non-quartz.
Yeah, so you
like a winder.
Wind it to the last until you can wind it any further. Then as it starts to move back, it starts to spin the plate where your LP will be on.
But there's a name.
And then from a needle, it was called a gramophone.
No, but there is a name, the official international name. Let's check it. Let's check the first LP.
Gramophone. You see now.
No, we used to call. Remember, these names in South Africa we would call, but the world was like, what are you talking about?
Okay.
Check. Say the first
It's gramophone.
No, we used to call it that. But I once had a similar interview with this other Madala who used to play back in the 70s. He told me it's an acronym though. The way we say LP, but at that time it was a short one.
Gramophone. Yeah. No, man, you're talking about this.
Gramophone was the gadget. Was the gadget? But I'm talking about
the gadget.
The plate.
I'm talking about the gadget.
The plate. What do you call it? The plate. It's LP was long play. That one was.
No, man. We're talking about two things. I'm talking about the equipment. No, you're talking about the small things
because that's the only things you were playing.
Yes, those ones.
What do you call? What check?
They're still vinyls. They're still vinyls, but some vinyl plates.
Yeah, they were still made out of vinyl, but it was not the same as the vinyls we got after. Because there was a transition where things stopped and then tape was introduced and they brought back the LP. Even today they're trying to bring it back, but it's failing. Say the first generation. I think it was in the 50s or 60s. We only got it very late.
The small ones. We used to have those at home. My mother was a collector.
And they play at a 45 speed.
Yeah.
They play faster compared to, because the other one is longer, the needle reads it differently.
Well, the equipment would be
Should I check it out?
Yeah, I'm actually checking it out. First generation vinyl player. You want the vinyls first?
I don't think they used to call it vinyl. I don't think it's the word vinyl wasn't even.
I'm actually looking at them now.
There's those short ones that play for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, they play like 2 songs.
Yeah. They had those.
I'm seeing a picture here.
And I think those are the ones you were talking about that you were winding.
The equipment was the one, the
gramophone.
Okay.
And then
I just forgot the names.
This generation by now. Also 1969. Okay.
So the small ones,
BPR or RPM or something. Like
something
beats per minute.
But you see those things, that's not the first vinyl records. It was just a record that it would be pointless to have a vinyl that is empty and has 2 songs. So if, for instance, you want to release a single, you then make a smaller vinyl size.
You think they were designed for singles?
No, I don't think. I'm telling you.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I'm telling you.
Because I once had this dialogue with this Madala, and then it made me feel like, to be honest with you, I was like,
Do you think it would make sense to?
Because I have them. I stole some of my mom's. Shit, this is like in April 9th, the year 1860. Scott recorded a snippet of a French folk song, how do you pronounce this? Au clair de la lune. First recorded sound would thus fall sometimes between early experiments and recognizable arch or whatever. Sounds like this was the first recording, but we don't know what they were using to record this thing, right? So let's look specifically for that one.
We don't know.
Oh, the gramophone now, I think it comes in phone now, Phonography, earliest known recording audio. Yo! Okay, 1860. And this is what was going on in South Africa. I think the Zulus were fighting with the whites there this time.
Yeah, it was around the time.
Yeah, it was around that time.
1860.
Anglo-Boer War and
It
stuff.
was about Zulus, and the land is coming in.
Yeah.
And exercising their right.
While we were fighting each other, they were worried about making a recording device that side. So funny. But well, they probably had their earlier wars there. And then it says phonotograph? Phono, I'm thinking it's phono, it's like sound, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tograph is like capturing.
Let's see.
Phonotograph. I'm assuming it's a capturing of sound.
Phonotograph.
Phono is almost sound.
Phonotograph.
Graph is capturing something. Yeah. And then it's an earliest known recording. Audio historians have found a sound recording that predates Edison's phonography by nearly 20 years. Okay, so Hamatamandela or Toma. Well, I mean, this is way beyond that. This is like 100 years before when we got this thing. We got this shit in the 760s, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, then my recollection of this thing that I call that thing was from my mother when she was telling me that they used to play LPs, but they're using that whole
gramophone. But gramophone comes from that foam thing.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
It makes sense.
Okay.
So
which is the audio still, right?
Yeah. And then there were record players which we call now turntables, turntable, turntable. And then we used to have one at home, you know. I just don't know what it was, but I know it was made of steel. I could not even lift it. I'm just wondering to myself could that have been a Technics
Excel?
Maybe proper Technics 20
first generation.
Those proper ones that we're still using to generate the 2020. Not 2010.
Now for me, okay, well maybe I was
original Techniques. Original Techniques when you started to DJ. Original Techniques, that was the 2010.
I don't know. I only started
2020.
knowing. But remember me, I started like late 90s.
You started when you were using
I mean,
just after,
when I was on Excel's.
Okay.
Excel's 1200s.
Oh, wait, final players.
Yeah.
Oh, so you were one of those band about Kawata, not some body techniques, only by the belt drives. Or some weak direct.
We had belt, but we even ended up buying a direct drive, but it was expensive.
But the 2020s, that's like the most expensive. 1010s, the Techniques. Even the last time I checked, the one was around 10,000 rands, just the one piece.
What year?
Wow, I don't remember the last time I checked for these things.
Okay, I think I'll look for the name, and I will put it as we broadcast. It's okay.
It's fine.
Because they're not giving us the right history. They're taking us back like another 100 years from what we're looking
let's
for.
Let's not go 100. It's fine. But anyways, our sisters. So
gramophone, and then the windy, the first LP.
The windies and then the vinyl players, which is now But anyways, the reason why we're here is because I was still saying that you were asking me about the song that could have been the song that was popular at the time, or the song that would make me remember those days
when we were being initiated.
Yes.
At Seko or was
Kata never did
that. Yeah. At Seko or after Seko?
Seko. No, after Seko it was. We were the new students, you know, so there were no bullies, there were no students before us.
So Seko was like the worst.
Seko is the first high school in Alexander Township. So it's the full name is Alexander High. But they call it Seko because it was the only secondary at some point, and then the name stuck. But it's
I think it was a thing of us calling this thing with a Seko, you know, like a secondary.
The secondary. Yes.
Secondary.
That's where it comes from. So anyways,
the song, I'm looking for a song. Remember, Back to the Future, we need to sing
I'm
songs.
I'm getting you there. So, with the tapes, like, 'cause this is how we ended up talking about gramophones and other things. It's the situation where the song that was playing, I remember on the tape. I loved it so much, that song. I remember for it too. We gave it a name, we gave it a name, but in a song, I'm trying to get it right, but in a high tone, maybe I should give it the name. Because it's gonna be part of this.
Yeah, no.
It was a song by a group, Bariki, actually, no, I'm not planning that you should write it because
Okay.
They call themselves Black Box. Kinoko sing.
Oh, you just gave away your age.
And then the song, was called Fantasy. In it's my song, Jack. Dum kudum kudum dum 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 kudum kudum.
Get down.
Dum dum kudum kudum dum dum. Skimsak. Those were the days.
Ah, shit.
Yeah, international.
Are you trying to tell me that when you've been
International.
initiated, that song was somewhere bubbling in the background?
Bubbling somewhere in the background.
Ah, do you have good memories?
I have a lot of good memories with the song. This year, these guys that were bullying now not good memories. Yeah, but yeah, I have a lot of good memories of that song.
Because, in fact, I've got a lot of data here with me. Pass me, maybe there. If I was to go back to the future, or in this case of Get Down, I'm going to go back to the past of the future of it.
I just wanted to let me that coffee.
Hola.
Yes, I can, if I may, Because I see
Let me go back to the past of this would be, there we go.
Yeah, it's a bit hot.
Yes, so this exactly, we're going to where I want this Back to the Future feature or NippyCast feature comes to, and what it resonates with. So we just shared your memory from childhood to school, and then you just gave us a song of when you were doing initiation, which you didn't ask for at secondary high school. Alexander Seko.
It's Alex High. It's called Alex High.
Alex High.
Alexander High.
Are they calling it that?
Alex High. That's what it's been called. Seko is just
a nickname. Oh, and I conclude that they were using secondary to say Seko. It's like okay, cool. So now, at that time, did you know that that song was a sample?
At that time, that it was the first time I was getting introduced to that song. I was hearing it for the first time. I never knew it was a sample until much later on in life. All I knew was like it's Black Box, and that's it. Black Box are the guys that have introduced this beautiful song.
Yeah.
That for me was like it's a lifetime type of tune that I knew for a fact that I'll still be listening to a couple of decades later. But little did I know that it's a song that was sampled
from somewhere.
From somewhere. I think the guys were called Earth, Wind and Fire.
Earth, Wind and Fire.
Earth, Wind and Fire, they were called. That's where it came from.
There you go. It was the year was 1977.
So it was 1977 when Earth, Wind and Fire came up with this song.
Yeah.
Before you play the Earth, Wind and Fire, I would want people to actually pay special attention, and I'm saying this to actually try and make people aware that you see the Black Box version, the guys put an effort to actually to make it, because now remember I said I remember it with the bass line.
Yeah, that was a fucking killer bass line.
That bass line is not there on the original Earth, Wind and Fire.
Oh,
The vocals, the samples, the chords and everything else is there, you know. But the bass line, the guys gave it live. They basically
Can I take some notes on
take some notes
later on? We're gonna talk about the sampling, and the chords, ne? Keys and chords,
yeah, the keys and chords and whatever else that the guys, the Earth, Wind and Fire.
I think I already wrote that one.
It was a beautiful song. I mean, Earth, Wind and Fire did a great job. But you see, when you're gonna make a remix, and you do what Black Box had done, these guys were good.
Okay.
They gave it new life. They gave it their own bass line, and it stayed. And when I remember this song, I remember it with the bass line. Google was singing that bass line. Dum, 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 dum. That's what Black Box has done. It gave it that dum, 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 dum.
So in our brain is the bass line that dominates.
That's what dominates. As soon as you start to remember this song, you remember
I get you.
the bass line, which means they did something good. They add. It's like a nice house, nice joint. And then they will extend and make it much nicer. It's a beautiful extension.
Is this like doing justice to a rendition?
Yes.
Or a remix?
That's what these guys have done.
Which I also want to ask you later on.
This is what these guys have done, you know.
I'm going to ask you a question later on.
Renditions or remixes of songs that you think, you know what? I wish they had just left it.
Okay, I don't want us to kill this momentum. I'm going to ask you this question. I'll do it later on. So I don't know. Should we jump into
the songs?
Please, this is your phone we're using here. Please open it for me, because I've already read there what they're telling me. It was released in 1977. But this song looks like it has been sampled so many times. I think it has been sampled 30 times for the past 40 years, I think now, right? And it has been remixed. Actually, sampled and remixed. We're gonna talk about it later on what the difference is. But I think they're intertwined, right?
They're cousins.
And then it has got 10 cover versions according to this research here. So let's go to it. Let's play Earth, Wind and Fire, Fantasy.
Yeah.
Then we go back to your childhood. After that, can I go 6-9?
Okay, sure.
Is it okay?
Let's do that then.
And then while we leave them with
the
song.
Yeah, once we leave them with the song.
Sure. Yo, my man, you know, it's winter. It's winter now. When these things play sometimes, and you be like, hey, this thing, I think the blood gets boiling so much that we can switch off these heaters and the air cons.
Yeah.
You know, and now the song that you were bullied to was an original version of something that was created before you even knew what was going on. And then I'm assuming that some of these things influenced you to be where you went towards the music sphere as the future went. The future being influenced by the stuff that happened in the past, aka the Back to the Future, and that's how.
You know, when music played for me, there would be this sense of feeling alive. I don't know, with people that like really love a certain craft and art, they'll tell you that there's this thing that happens when, say, you see a piece of painting, if you're a painter, that just brings you to life. That it gives you that much energy. You want to take up a brush and start to paint now. So for me, I just knew that when I listen to certain types of music, certain kinds, I would feel so alive, you know. I just didn't know what that was. You know, I would feel like this is something I could do. This is something I could do for the rest of my life.
So it was a voice.
But it was not there.
People listen, it's a voice.
We were not exposed. You know, we did not know that, no, you can actually become a producer if you want to as a career. We just knew that you either become a doctor, which is difficult, we were told.
Or a teacher.
Or a teacher.
Policeman.
And then you can be a police officer.
Soldier.
Though we did not even think about soldiers. Soldiers were busy shooting us at the locations during those days.
Okay. Like, as much as you're choosing your careers, I'm sure we all had dogs at home, like Sporty, Bovat, Danger. Do you think they were dreaming like that? They were gonna be like a police dog as well?
I don't think our own dogs at the Gassis were dreaming of becoming police dogs.
But what do you
Because they knew that they were gonna get kicked a lot there in the Gassi.
What do you think our dogs at Ekasi in the 70s and the
They were
80s?
hoping to become.
Yeah, don't you think they were like, the way we were looking at the thing, like, police, I want to be a cop when I grow up. Don't you think maybe Sport was like, I will upgrade one day when I pass my trick of my dog unit. When I'm tired of eating from the dustbin, I will go and become a police dog.
I think they were hoping to be adopted by a family that can afford to buy them some dog food or that eats well every day and lives on nice bones. And that they don't have to go and fend at the dustbins. I think that's as far as the dogs were created, Gassi dogs.
Because I'm sure Sport wants to pay revenge. Like, it wants to go to a truth and reconciliation committee
To talk about how they were abused.
how the uncle was abused.
I hear you.